This is James Vowles talking and talking and talking. For a long time, people believed he was the right person to bring glory back to the wonderful historic team of the past, Williams Racing. It's been 3 years of well-articulated statements and other PR moves. But the question is it really working? I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Williams Racing in 2026 is one of the lower midfield teams, fighting to get into the last point scoring positions. This is very disappointing, seeing they were P5 last season, and they prioritized the development of the 2026 car over more success in 2025. When the new Williams car arrived for the 2026 season, it was way too heavy. The FW48 was almost 30 kilograms overweight, some reports suggest. In these new regulations, where a battery and an engine have to push the car around the track, the extra weight was a bigger penalty than in the previous regulations, so the car struggled with harvesting, corner speeds and its balance. Williams didn't even make it to the first run of testing at the Barcelona circuit. This was because the regulations turned out to be way more complicated than they had expected. The car lacked downforce, the opening and closing of the front and rear wings didn't work properly, and they just couldn't get the platform stable. If you add the Mercedes engine, which is very good, but has been causing reliability issues all over the grid, it's safe to say Williams is struggling hard. What surprised me about all this is that James Vowles was super positive last season. He told us many times that 2026 was going to be their year. And that's why they sacrificed so much in 2025. I totally believed him, and I think I had Williams higher in the standings in my pre-season predictions. Definitely higher than the Racing Bulls, for instance. Was I naive to believe Mr. Vowles here? Was there too much PR, or did James really believe they could get into the top 4? First, a message from my sponsor. I've been using NordVPN for many years now. You can get deals for their products for a few quid, euros or dollars per month. I use it for many different reasons. First of all, I like to be protected so that websites don't know my location, because a VPN changes your IP address to the location you pick. I use it to watch movies on Tubi, which you can normally only access in the US. Then for Formula 1, I love me a good podcast or an interview with one of the drivers. If that happens to be on Sky, I can't watch it in Holland because it's geo-blocked, but if I set my VPN to London, I can watch it all. There's a link in the first comment and in the description for a great deal. It also helps the channel. James Vowles started his career at BAR in 2001. He had an engineering and strategy role there. In 2005, BAR became Honda Racing, and that changed quickly into Braun GP. He was the chief strategist in 2009 when Jenson Button won this amazing title. The documentary about this on Disney Plus is very good. Maybe you can find it with the use of your NordVPN. Then Braun GP turned into Mercedes and he became the strategy director. Vowles was there when Mercedes started dominating F1 thanks to their overpowered engine. He became well known to F1 fans because every time they wanted Valtteri Bottas to do something which wasn't very nice for an F1 driver, like swapping positions or pitting for fresh tires to steal the fastest lap, James Vowles came over the radio with the famous quote,
"Valtteri, it's James."
They won 7 drivers' titles and 8 constructor titles in those years, all under the watchful eyes of Toto Wolff. In 2022, he left Mercedes for Williams and he found a huge mess there. A team with barely any budget, using spreadsheets to keep their inventory. The once mighty Williams was in a bad place. So he started working on the infrastructure and was responsible for hiring Carlos Sainz, who was pushed out of Ferrari in favor of Lewis Hamilton. There definitely was good progress for the team from Stoke. So much so, I started believing in them and actually started rooting for them as well. I love a good underdog story. Well, things didn't really pan out in 2026 as we were hoping for. Especially Carlos Sainz is regretting his choice to join Williams instead of Audi, as his father advised him to do. He came out with a devastating quote. Ultimately, we have no pace. We have no reliability. We don't have a car capable of scoring points. Jeez, that's rough. He was so happy last season, scoring podiums. Alex Albon is also unhappy. He's getting beaten by Sainz all the time, and in Austria his cooling system turned into a heating system. And he had things changed on his car, but the team didn't tell him. What a mess! As always, James Vowles talked at length about everything that's going on at Williams right now. Let's see what he said. It's not complicated to bring it down. Already, what I have in my inbox today is all of the engineering steps to not just bring it down, but actually be underweight by a good amount. If this was a cost cap free world, I would execute it tomorrow. He's referring to the weight of the car here. He's blaming the cost cap for not getting it done earlier. Now, seeing Red Bull has only just managed to get their weight down in Austria, I do believe him here. The days of buying yourself out of trouble are long gone. And in one sense it's good. On the other hand, it forces teams to struggle longer than they have to. Then again, if the big three are allowed to spend whatever they want, nobody will catch them. I think it's fairer this way. James continued, the overweight car showed we are not at a level required for such a large regulation change. Change everything and our ways of working are not sufficient. He said he's very happy because there's nothing I can't see in the company anymore that's hidden. It's all fixable. The new car overloaded systems and parts fell behind, forcing compromises. Yeah, so the new F1 regulations are overly complicated, which forced his team, who are trying to get their act together again, to rush certain parts, and the compromises they made are seen on track every race. That makes sense too. I'm sure the bigger teams have a bigger group of people working on each individual issue. The Williams team probably has one person dealing with 3 problems at the same time. So what are the expectations then for Williams in 2026? We are expecting realistic and gradual progress, not leaps. No title fight in 2026. There's no chance that we'll be in that position this year. We have a long way to go. But aiming for steps forward and still targeting a strong midfield position. Williams has upgrades planned for Silverstone, their home race. I read there will be a new nose and side pods and a reduction in weight of 5 kilograms. For the race in Madrid, a bigger overhaul is planned that should bring the weight all the way down. For the race in England, they have this amazing new livery, which is the same as always, with a little bit of red, white and blue on the nose. I think they could have saved the 50 quid it cost to produce that. So yeah, Williams, under the leadership of James Vowles, has listed their issues and is gradually ticking them off with upgrades. I'd be surprised if they can finish the season as best of the rest in P5. But nothing is impossible in F1. After seeing the interviews with this information, I'm starting to believe in Williams again. But isn't that exactly what I did last season? What do you think about James Vowles? Is he a good team principal or just a pompous windbag? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and use my link to get NordVPN. Take care now. Doei doei.